I'd like to begin by respectfully acknowledging that UBC Okanagan is situated on the traditional, ancestral, and unceded territory of the Silks Okanagan Nation. I would also like to acknowledge that you are joining us from many different places afar and acknowledge the traditional owners and caretakers of those lands. Welcome to the 12th Annual Okanagan Embrace Aging Month, and thank you for joining us today. Embrace Aging is co-hosted by Beem Credit Union, Interior Health, and the Institute for Healthy Living and Chronic Disease Prevention here at UBC Okanagan. Embrace Aging, believe it or not, was launched 12 years ago to celebrate and raise awareness about the positive aspects of aging, and has once again this year organized a number of educational opportunities and events during the month of March. The sessions are designed for everyone, young and old alike, and they focus on a variety of topics related to healthy aging, ways to improve quality of life, and consider both the older adult, their family, and caregivers and our educational opportunities. Our goal is to inspire everyone to embrace positive aging. Now, before we get underway, there's a few items that I would like to go over with respect to the Zoom room. First off, if the closed captioning bar is appearing, if you'd like it off, select the hide caption button on the menu bar and it will miraculously just disappear. If you have questions, please type your questions or comments into the chat box. And at the end of the presentation, we'll have a period of time to go over those questions. They'll be read and they'll be addressed at the end of the presentation. Feedback for this event, please complete the survey. It informs us of what you as the listener would really like to learn about and how we can advance both Embrace Aging and the activities undertaken through the Institute for Healthy Living and Chronic Disease Prevention for future events. Now, without any further ado, today's session is Technology and Care, Balancing Benefits and Challenges. It is my pleasure to introduce Dr. Lillian Hung, Canada Research Chair in Senior Care, Associate Professor, School of Nursing at UBC Vancouver. And we have the great pleasure of welcoming alongside her patient partner, Mario Gregorio. Welcome to you both, and I'll turn it over to you.
Thank you very much. It's so nice to be here.
Thank you for the nice kind introduction, Jennifer. First of all, I would like to acknowledge that we are in UBC Vancouver campus here, and we are really grateful to be able to do this work from the unceded ancestral traditional land of Musqueam people. And we are very excited to kind of share some of the things that we have been doing and tell people a little bit about our stories. So let me see. So the work that we do here in our lab, here in the UBC Idea Lab, it's a lab that we bring young students and older people together, and people like Mario, patient partner. We go do a lot of kind of technology innovation work in long-term care homes.
Yes.
So I'm going to show you maybe just like this, you can, from this video, you can see like, so you see, we bring like, that was a projector that we put it in, mounted into the ceiling of a long-term care home. Our PhD student, Joey, was there and helping the residents kind of play with the projection images on the wall. It's interactive, and we do a lot of kind of virtual reality and different kind of stuff. And I'm going to show you, they see lots of like students, and we work with closely with a lot of our staff in Vancouver Coastal Health, because just geographically we're very close to the Vancouver General Hospital and some of the long-term care home in VCH here. And you can see our students, and Alban is there from biomedical engineering, and he does a lot of work with Mario.
Yes, we do partner with different schools at UBC Point Grey. Like some of our students are from biomedical engineering, social work, School of Nursing, and other areas. We also welcome younger generations just to give them a feel of what it is like to be in the university.
Yeah, so you can see again, this is our PhD student, Joey, and we can see she's working with another our partner here, Odado partner. That's Lily Wong. We'll tell you more about Lily Wong today. And here, Mario, testing our technology. What was that like?
Well, it's a little bit overwhelming, so I required a lot of help from the students. And once it's all set up, it was fun to look at scuba diving and all those kind of things as if you're there. And that is one of the fascinating things about this toy. I call it a toy because once it's set up, the uh, the the people in the long-term care homes do not have to do it anything, and they're so excited just having the experience of pretending to to scuba dive and other sports that they used to do.
So I show you pictures about projectors, the VL. Here is another robot. Then this robot is called Mango. It's really a pet of Mario's.
Yes, think about a 2-year-old child, a cat, and a dog combined together. It doesn't do anything except when it sees you, walks around you, flap its flippers, and as if with its voice command, it as if it is saying, "Pick me up, pick me up." So he just wants to be held up, kind of thing.
And like the green color we call it kiwi. So we have two. We have kiwi and mango. They seem to be very attached to you.
Oh, well, I think it's called imprinting. Once they recognize your voice, especially the orange one, I am his favorite, and this green one, Kiwi, gets jealous. Whenever I pick up the orange one, he would come around and then also ask to be picked up. They're about 8 pounds each, so so it's a bit too heavy for me to carry both of them, and. And when they're happy when they're both in my arms, they will flip their arms just like a baby, and then it will just have its barks and whatever sound they make. The eyes and the eyes and the voice have about billions of combinations. So the eye movement, if you're happy, the eye movement will look like it's happy. It sort of sympathizes to whoever voice they imprint on.
So you can see that we talk a little bit more about the robot, but it looks like the robot, some of the potential benefits is like it brings people together.
Yes.
And there's a lot of joy, like laugh, and it knows how to demand your love.
And also when there are a group of 3 or 5 people in the table, the resident sort of projects what they think the robot is doing, and it starts the social connection aspect of what we're trying to do is make them talk to each other.
So more pictures of like that's Kiwi, and we also work with let me see, we could bring this right back to the front. Okay, so this is another robot that we worked with. This is Peril. So let me see if I could play Peril. Peril is a robot that you remember you met with the
Yes,
Shibata.
yeah. We were approached by Dr. Takanori Shibata from Japan and Massachusetts Institute of Technology, and sort of we had a research project wherein we asked the question of, are the robots doable, or are they able to connect with the older adults, especially those with dementia? And this robot has some sensors on its whiskers and on its flippers. Sorry. So and again, it's emotion sensitive. So if it senses your voice is happy, the sound of the barking will sound happy, and if you're sad, it will sound like. So it changes the sound, and it's very endearing to the older adults that holds them, and sometimes they really embrace it like a child.
Well, let's see what it does.
How does Casper make you feel? Pardon me.
Oh, Casper makes me feel so friendly. I love Casper. Oh my God, are you a friendly little seal?
What makes you feel happy about Casper?
His seal meat, the taste is good.
The taste is good. Does Casper know that you eat the seal meat?
All the time.
Does Casper feel safe in your arms?
Sure he does. And my grandfather used to club the baby seals and make fur coats up.
Wow.
Is Casper sleeping right now?
I think he is.
Casper, are you sleeping?
Are you sleeping?
No? Oh,
So
yeah, you make him
sweet.
wake. Uh-oh, you woke him up. Now what are you gonna do?
Oh, Casper.
What is Casper saying to you?
Yeah. Hello.
So we can see that like people can like the first time when they see the robot, they could get very close to it, and there's lots of kisses and hugs, and so there are potential benefits for such a robot to be used in dementia care to help the person, right?
Yeah, that
Yeah.
sometimes the imprinting that we're talking about, they do sort of give that sense of trying to connect with the person once they recognize the voice of the person. And of course, people laugh when because we didn't realize that this lady has some she's from
From the north, yeah.
from the north, and they do have this as part of their diet kind of thing. So it was
Yeah.
kind of laugh to hear that that comment.
So it helps to have the conversation and break the ice, and get to know the person
Yeah, and
a
also,
little
you
bit.
know,
Yeah.
and also it creates a memory thing, like they remember, so they're able to relate whatever they have experienced with the particular animal, just like Paro, our robot.
Yeah. So even Peril doesn't speak any particular language, but you can see that like she project and she kind of like use her imagination and thinking that for the robot, oh, aren't you sleeping? And yeah, so there was one of the things that people often worry about at Mario. It's what about deceptions? When we give these social robots to people with dementia, are we deceiving people?
Well, not really, because at the start, our students tell them that this is a robot. This is not a real animal. It's very important to let them know that we're not trying to substitute a live animal for their transference of their emotion. We tell them that this is a robot. So that makes it clear to them that this is a toy, sort of.
So I remember with this video, there one point in time that she flipped the robot on the side and she looked at the battery, said, "You're not dead yet." That was really funny. And yes, so we could also see the robot like as well received not just by women, but it also people older men and also from different kind of racial background could also interact with the robot. And he was making a joke about, I remember the story that he was asking Peril that if he has brushed his teeth, and he was scratching his chin, kind of treating like a kitten cat. And this person, she was very depressed, and I remember she was in VGH, and yeah, so this is the first time she hugged the robot, and she got very emotional when she had that hug, and then she was telling us stories about her life and about the white cat that she had, and it kind of, again, it served the purpose of breaking the ice and helping the clinicians to have a way to get in to connect with the patients, eh?
Yeah, we also have to be very careful that we respect their emotions, and at the same time we make sure that they do not go too far into this kind of emotional state. So it's always very we are always mindful on how far we can go with their interaction with our robotic devices.
You're right, Mario. I remember there was one time that there was a group of them, and I remember this Chinese lady, she got very excited about Peril. She picked Peril up and she flung Peril in the air. And she was excited. And then the other another gentleman there, that he got quite attached to the robot. He was kind of like he was trying to protect the robot, right? So sometimes having the facilitations and having someone there to help So the robot really doesn't replace humans.
Yes, yeah. It's also very important for us to make sure the staff in the long-term care homes are trained and familiarize them very well on the capacities and challenges of the robot, so they are sort of on guard on just in case there are certain unexpected reaction from the residents.
And you're right. I mean, the training is really
That's very
important, right? So, and when we did the project that we wrote a policy on how do we help the staff to learn how to use a robot, but also like during the pandemic, how do we clean,
Yeah.
using evidence to develop the protocol with the infection control officers and make sure that, that
Oh, good thing you mentioned that, Lillian, because I have to remind the audience that we took so much precautions because of the interaction with the residents. We have so many protocols just to make sure of the sanitation and infection protocol that we need to adhere to make sure everybody's safe.
Yeah. So I remember this guy is a French guy that he was curious about the gender of the robot. It was flipped around to see, and he got like very attached to the robot as well. So it's very interesting. And I could tell you a little story about the potential use of this particular robot. I remember that one time that I was in Emerge at VGH, and then we had a patient who came in with a cardiac problem. So he was in a lot of pain he's a person living with dementia. So with that, the cardiac pain that he had, and he got delirious. So when the staff coming and trying to help him with the diagnostic procedures, he pushed people away and he wouldn't let anybody go near him. So then it was very difficult for the physicians and also for the clinical staff trying to work with him. So were left with two choices. Either that they use chemical and physical restraint to force the diagnostic procedures, which can be very traumatic and stressful for everyone, or whether they just let him be. But we all know that he was having the cardiac condition that he needs treatments. So it was very interesting that when I came around and he was sitting in a wheelchair and I put Peril on his lap, like he spoke, because everyone thought he could not speak because he hasn't spoken. So he pat Peril and Peril turned his eyes and looked at him, and then he started to talk to Peril and asking, "Have you have a place to stay? What did you eat?" And the lab guy came over and with the mobile lab, and then he was able to take some blood work from him, and so he was able to manage the EKG and some of the diagnostic work with him. So you can see that sometimes a piece of technology like that has the potential to offer benefits.
Yeah, and I have to say, this is one of the great potential for robotic devices, so that it helps alleviate certain emotions of the patient and also helps in the treatment in the sense that it facilitates the way we treat patients in long-term care home or in the hospitals.
Yeah, so it just kind of pushed us to think beyond, like instead of like using the traditional way with just like physical restraint or chemical restraint, but we can use technology.
Yes.
Then does not require any of those that could cause so much trauma.
And this
stress.
is one of the great benefits of exploring what robotic devices can be useful in the medical in the provision of medical care.
So this is just some of the other things that here shows the picture shows another robot. It's called Eva. Eva is a robot that we use in a care home. That it's this one speaks. It roams around to have conversation with people, because sometimes I think that there's people sitting in the hallway, and this robot will roam around to do environmental inspections to see any kind of hazards and there's water or anything on the floor. So when the robot sees someone sitting in the hallway, it uses its facial recognitions and would start to have a conversation using the large language model, and because its ability to use artificial intelligence, so it can recognize the face of the resident, it could personalize the conversation with the residents. So you can see there's a lot of potential with the technologies that we have now, but at the same time, we have to be careful about like what may be some of the ethical implications when we use AI and these kind of technology with our older populations.
Yeah, first and foremost is privacy issue, because that's one of the things that that we need to be very mindful about, because it moves around and it could record the environment and all those things. But on the lighter side, if the older adult is a fisherman, he can ask our ether friend, my ether, tell me a fisherman's joke or a fishing story, whatever. So it can be useful, and it collects the information from that person, and then it holds it in his memory so that it can tell you about whatever you told him, and then it feeds back to you as a joke or whatever you want, kind of thing.
Yeah, so it's kind of like a personalized
Yeah.
robot, right? So each time when it talks to you, he knows that what you like to talk about, right? And I knew that when the robot was living in the long-term care, it was able to help some of the residents to exercise. Then they know how to encourage a person to exercise, so they'll walk together in the hallway, and the robot remember the song the residents like, and they would karaoke, and the robot would dance with the residents. So it was a lot of fun. Another thing that we have to think about, not to force people to use particular technology equipment, right? So the headset here that we see, like you put on the people's face, the face is a very intimate body part, right? So sometimes not everyone like to have that things on their face.
Yeah.
So
and the hair, females don't want devices on top of their head. So be mindful of my hair.
I don't know why I want to
Little things.
Yeah, actually that was when we did the literature review, and we find it now some of the participants mentioned about that, and we also see that in our own study that people really don't want their hair get messed up with these technology equipment.
Yeah, so I think we developed something else that can be projected.
Yeah, so we try to offer different options for people, and some people they don't want a headset, and we try to use different kind of projectors. Like you can see that we have mobile projectors and we have stationary projectors. I mentioned before that we can have a projector that's on the ceiling. I'll show you in a minute, but we also have like the staff told us, well, the resident might not necessarily want to go to this that where you had the projector mounted to the ceiling. Can you bring the projector to the room? So we also have trying to explore other options like these. Now the mobile projector becomes very small. That one that we show on the screen. This one is like a size of a pop can, like a Coca-Cola. So it's quite easy to use. Yeah. Okay, I want to turn it over to you. Do you want to introduce this a little bit before I play it?
This is very interesting. We do have a telepresence robot that we used for the older adults in the community. Think of a tablet on wheels, and it can be controlled anywhere in the world. So if the patient is here in Vancouver and the daughter is in say Australia, 16 hours away, and she says she is the one controlling the robot. The resident does not have to do anything. So she can make it move around the room, and turn it on from Australia. So she could probably turn it on and says, "Good morning, Dad. Have you brushed your teeth, or have you taken your glass of water?" And sometimes she can say, "Oh, I need to drink a glass of water. Let me show you how. Get your glass and I'll show you how, and let's drink the water together." Sometimes, as you know, people in the later stage of dementia, they says, "Oh, he is very obstinate. He doesn't want to drink his water." And probably it's not because he does not want to drink the water. It's probably because he no longer understand the command, and then probably to regular people, drinking water is just instinctive. Fill it with water and drink. But to them, this is a complicated procedure. So if the daughter is holding a mug or a glass, and then she says, "Let's drink the water." So we developed a video in Chinese and Cantonese or Mandarin. I don't remember. So are we going to show it, Lillian?
Yes, let's see. can see how it works. Yeah. I think the ritual really help like people see and they.
飲水會令你身體健
This
康。
one is Cantonese. Yeah. So that was Lily Wong. She said the drinking water keeps you healthy. So we find it interesting
我
that
哋一齊嚟飲水。
when she said, let's drink together, and people will pick up the glass and drink with her. And they see how she swallow and they'll swallow with her.
Mhm. I have to say we developed this program with Zinnia TV. It's a consumer product developer from Seattle, and they provided some of the content.
She said that tastes really good. So this is one thing that I really learned from you, Mario, because I was like wondering like why, you know, the staff when they are telling the older person to drink or to eat, but there's no response. But now you taught me that it's not that they don't want to drink or they don't want it, but maybe they don't really understand the verbal command or
Yes.
the verbal communication that what it means.
Mhm.
But it's interesting that when we show the video, people would just mirror
Mhm.
her actions. People would pick up the glass and they would just drink with her. Yeah.
I think the newer generation of students or medical care providers now understand that all the adults with dementia are not hard-headed or aggressive or just because they are really aggressive. It's probably because they do not know how to respond because the facility, the ability to execute the commands, they may be having some serious kind of issue in understanding what you're saying. So if they do not understand it, they will just say no,
Yeah.
no. And then, but that's not what they really meant. So we need to be careful, or we have better understanding on what the response is, and probably getting a little bit more about the patients.
Yeah. Again, that if we think out of the box and
Yes.
thinking about like innovations and other ways to kind of to help the person, like in this case, we're using technology with videos, right?
Yes.
And of course, like having Lily Wong, our patient partners, that is just fabulous. And yeah. So here, that we have a little video, and I could maybe just show you a little bit about how the residents responds using VR in long-term care.
Oh my God, it seems I'm there. Wow!
Okay, maybe.
Yeah, isn't it nice?
So cool.
Very calming. I don't know, it just looks really real. Ah, you will love it. Try, go!
No, yeah, keep looking. Look around. Turn your head. You can hear them looking.
Look at that! Oh, the meat. Yeah.
So just give you a sense of how people receive the technology in long-term care. And this is just a slide about how we work with different students, and the work that we do, we call it co-create, meaning that we work closely with the people, the local people in long-term care, to try to figure out what works for them and what do they want, right? So what matters is
Yeah, and speaking of co-create, we have a large population of German-speaking older adults in Vancouver. So we have one student from Germany who helped us create the same video of the drinking water. So we cater to to different ethnic communities that in older adults care homes.
Right, like tailoring the
Yes.
cultural background is really important. Yeah, so that yeah, I remember we also made it a Christmas. Yeah,
And Christmas trees.
yeah, and Christmas videos as well, and the Chinese New Year, like
Yes.
different.
Okay.
Yeah.
Are we gonna tell them about this picture?
Oh, you tell them then.
Oh, the students are very excited about ethnic festivals and whatever. So we have two students, Jason and Paris, pretend that they are. Oh no, Paris is actually her grandson. The lady in the middle is Lily Wong. So we created a VR video about creating a happy birthday event. So we went to a dim sum place somewhere in Vancouver and created this video wherein I don't remember how many, but she had so much fun, and the audience, when we showed this to the long-term care home in the Chinese community, they just loved the video.
Yeah, so again, it's really trying to find out what people want to watch,
Yes.
right? And like the cultural relevance seems
Yes.
to be really important. And I think the residents, when they watch a video, they recognize the different kind of dim sum, what they like.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And they chat, and the important thing is, even if they are not Chinese, somehow they also laugh with what's going on in the video.
Well, I might skip this one. This is just a paper that published on one of the robot. So let me show you how this robot. Now, maybe we'll tell them a little bit more about kiwi and mango.
Yeah, Kiwi and Mango are the two robots that we partnered with Japan and Singapore to do an 18-month research on viability. As most of people know, North American population are not keen in handling robotic devices, especially older adults. Japan, Korea, and Singapore and China, they are more easily accepted by the older adults. But we wanted to know, will these robots be acceptable also in the older adults, male and female, in the older care homes?
Yeah, and one of the reasons that we work on this particular project was based on a previous project that we look at how the pandemic impacted like the long-term care homes, and we asked the residents, like, what would you like? What would be what would help? And people talked about like joy. They want to have something that's bring them fun and joy. So that's we worked on the project, and this project, like Mario already explained it, to try to look at feasibility. And so we took the robot to the care home and show it to the staff, and do the traditional focus group, and they did some interview, and the student did some observations. And in the study that we find that it helps with the connections, it helped the person with dementia felt that that they are accepted, because that robot is always cheerful, and also help the person to use their creativity and playfulness to work with the robot. But some people did say that, well, it's not for me. So the robot is not always work for everyone.
Yeah. If I may summarize quickly, it's social connections and social isolation and loneliness. Those are the keywords that we were looking at in our study here.
So I won't go into too much of the study results, but I do want to end this presentation with a video that kind of show you how it works when we were studying the robots in the long-term care home.
Am I boring you? You're sleepy.
102-year-old Charlotte England has an audience of robots keeping her company.
I'm going to make Nanaimo bars.
Social robots, in fact. Meet Kiwi and Mango. They're at the center of a study examining whether artificial intelligence can be used to help care for older people. They're a big hit with residents here. They say the pandemic left many seniors feeling isolated.
I think one of these to help the loneliness would be great. I don't see my children that often, But I mean, I could play with him all morning.
It's fun company, you know, kind of. You don't have to feed them, you don't have to clean them, you don't have to take them for a walk. Perfect.
The AI companions are the size of a small pet and use emotional robotic software that learns and mimics human emotion.
As soon as you come home from work, it will run to the door to greet you. It gets really active and it actively seeks your love. It follows you everywhere and it goes to the home to follow all different kind of people and try to check up to see what people's doing. It's kind of like a domestic cat.
With a 360-degree camera on top, these two can recognize faces and voices, even reach up for a hug.
So it knows that Tanya is standing there and you're standing there with the camera. This robot loves camera, so it always looks at the camera.
The two have been trained to take after their lead companion, leading to different personalities and even moments of jealousy.
Oh, you're getting jealous? You want to be touched too? Yes, you do.
Yeah. One thing there that I was looking at, and suddenly I remembered, if you caress the chin, it will fall asleep. As you might have noticed, the green one was falling asleep when the lady was sort of touching the chin kind of thing. That was quite funny.
All right, so so that's our presentation, and we are gonna stop sharing, and then maybe we can welcome any questions.
Thank you, Lillian and Mario. That was wonderful. The manner in which you two present as well is so engaging. So thank you for sharing both your studies, your community interactions, and your relationship with us today. I think I'm going to start with a question, and you spoke to it a little bit, but I'm curious with respect to the twofold, the family members' reaction to older adults playing with robots, interacting with robots, what their kind of responses are, as well as the staff, because staff are so taxed and they're so wonderful at what they do, but they have very busy jobs in caregiving. So if you could provide a little bit of a sense of those two aspects with respect to your research and your engagement.
If I could start the conversation, Jennifer, what it is the price of robotic devices is going down. So think of Paro costing us $8,000 and Paro is about under $5,000 to $3,500 US. They're going down, and some of the long-term care homes discuss the possibility of buying one for themselves in their long-term care home. And for there are other devices. Unfortunately, Paro is not available outside Japan due to copyright restrictions, but there are ways of getting around that, I believe. So the robotic device are now starting to get more and more accessible. So
yeah, and I thought about the question that you asked a lot about, like, how do different people react to the robot
that's
and
a
what
very
it
good
means
question.
to them, right? And I think that for the staff, for all, like, we would have gone to a lot of the care homes here in Lower Mainland, and in general, I think because it's something new, and the staff, they would all come and take pictures and videos of the robot. They seem to be like really curious about what the robot can do for them. And in our research that they told us, you know, that they think that it could be useful, but they also have concerns and worries.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah, our main focus is to let them know that this is not to replace their jobs. This is to assist them in creating that sense of relieve the sense of isolation and allow a group of older adults to make this chatting around the table kind of thing. That way, it's a certain way with their guidance in the background, these older adults can chat with other residents of their community.
yeah, they could see that, you know, the robot could help the resident, but they also worry about that, you know, the robot may break down. It will, like,
Yes.
who's gonna maintain, who's gonna look after the robot then?
Yeah. The technical issues, they're concerned about technical issues that occasionally some of them may be mishandled and all those kind of things. These are valid concerns that in the long run probably are doable. There are ways around those kind of minor issues. Their main concern is the replacement of, as I mentioned earlier, which I think if you tell them that this is not to replace what their jobs, they're very curious, as Lillian has mentioned, and they're very willing to try them in their facilities.
That's great.
I
That's great.
think there's a long way to go to have
Yes.
any kind of robot to replace.
Yes.
Yes.
That's still a
Human
long way.
caregiving for certain. It's got a long way to go to be replaced. Human caregiving is especially
Yeah.
complex and beautiful. I'm curious with respect to the complexity of humans and their interactions with the world. You showed us such amazing stories, and they're so warmly embraced by the members of these communities. Do you also get some variable reactions? Because with dementia, there are variations in day-to-day behaviors and understanding. So have you noticed or observed that one day it's really positive, but the next day you might have to reintroduce in a different manner to create that return to comfort feeling?
That's a very good question, Jennifer, because as you know, people with dementia, their moods could vary from day to day. One day they could be very friendly, and then sometimes they could be unreachable, kind of thing. So the staff and our researchers play it by ear. If they do not want to participate today, maybe next week, that kind of thing. So we do not force them it's your time to play with the robot. We never do that. We leave it to the patients to say, oh, you want to play? Come, you can play with the robots.
It's a bit of a kind of self-selected group too, right? They come because they are curious. They want to look at the robot, right? But it was very interesting that I learned something new about what from the residents. One of the residents, she told me that she said the opposite. She said, like, humans, like the staff, they have good days and bad days, and sometimes they work short, and they don't always like. So she finds it's hard to predict how a person's gonna respond to her, right? But she said that it's very consistent with the robot. She know exactly how this robot's gonna respond to her. And the robot is always happy because it's programmed to be happy, cheerful, right? So you can say anything to the robot will always give a positive response, but she's not sure about, you know, staff and human because, you know, it's like we have our our emotions.
Yeah. And one of our robots, it never tire answering your question, whether you ask it 2 times, 3 times, 10 times, it will still answer you, kind of thing.
In a polite way.
In a polite way.
That's perfect. I recognize we're running out of time. And I did want to ask kind of one general question to the two of you. The relationship between researcher and patient partner, I can see the beauty of it, it coming across the screen between the two of you. I'm wondering if you're comfortable sharing, especially you, Mario, for other older adults that might not know what a patient partner role is, or how to become involved and why you stay involved.
Thank you very much for that question. I'm hoping you're going to ask that question because we just recruited a few people last week who heard about our robotic devices, and I met them through Alzheimer's Society Canada. So, and just so happened that they live about X number of miles away, but he and her daughter came over, and when they came here, and they go, Mario, what do you do? And I explained that I'm so excited, and it makes my Tuesdays one of the most purposeful day in my week because I get to meet the students and I get to learn more on how what the Alzheimer neurocognitive disorder. By the way, that is the new term that we are trying to use now, neurocognitive disorder or dementia, so that as we move on, people will move away from the stigma about demented people. So yes, thank you very much for that question about why am I involved. I consider myself a successful mentor, in the sense that there's so many students from all over the world coming during summer, the MyTechs students that come with us. And then I'm so glad they still continue to ask questions via email on what they're doing and how I am able to help them. So mentors are very important because as Lillian mentioned earlier about comments that researchers may not notice, but from a point of view of a person who has the lived experience, they give a nuance that may be not available in the academics world kind of thing.
I certainly learn a lot from you.
Oh, thank you. It's a mutual admiration society, but it is kind of nice that I learned from the students and from the robotic devices, and it's helpful. Then they learn some of the benefits of my observations and stuff.
Yeah,
That's
and plus it's a
beautiful.
lot of fun.
It's Lillian makes it fun. We have a lunch workshop on lunch days, and Lillian cooks dim sum or Japanese whatever.
Food helps.
Food helps. I think it helps us a lot.
Oh my gosh,
Makes it more
that's so
fun.
wonderful.
Research is not serious all the way. We always have to make it fun for the students.
I think that's very important and fun for those that participate as volunteers. And thank you for raising that element of the students that are such a vital part of our research and our projects. I'm going to end it there with the question, and I'm going to thank you both for joining us today. It's been just absolutely wonderful to listen about the various different projects you've got underway, the different robots you're using, and the experiences that the older adults are having. To our audience, I'm going to encourage you to take a look at the Embrace Aging website, and we have many more events upcoming. Even though we're approaching the end of March, there's a full-on calendar for you to take a look at. And we look forward to growing Embrace Aging in the future to meet the needs of those in our local community. So thank you for joining us today, and you will receive an email with a link for an online evaluation, and we welcome your feedback. Thank you for joining us today, and have a lovely afternoon, you two and everyone else.
Thank
Bye
you.
for now.
Bye.